Ladies and gentlemen, g'day, g'day. Huge updates. And rather, not a huge update, actually. A huge update coming for the Reforged server. The Ultra Test 2, ladies and gentlemen, is almost amongst us. Now, I don't know when it's going to be coming out. Wargaming haven't told me exactly when Ultra Test will be coming out. And unfortunately, even if I did know, I probably, well, not probably, I can't tell you guys because I am under NDA after all. I am a CC. So therefore, I cannot tell you guys when Reforged will be coming out, the next Ultra Test. But what I can tell you is, of course, this preview by Darth Antonius, aka Tony, who went through certain changes that have been added into the Reforged server and actually been altered. And one of the biggest things, of course, was the UI, the way it was presented, as you can see here, the garage. And you'll notice there are a couple changes that have been made. So without further ado, let us go through these changes and see whether or not we agree with these changes and whether or not we think Wargaming actually did a good job listening to us. Righty, so here we are. You can see the garage is a bit more, how can I put this? Pretty damn well, what do you call it? It's actually done pretty well. You'll notice that the tanks on the bottom, those T7 tanks, actually have the nations on them, which is great, the nation flags, which is a lot better than having whatever it was part of in the set. You'll notice there's no commander that's standing next to the tank. Another interesting deletion from the UI. You also have a section called Tech Trees. And look at that. I want to pause it right there. Look at this. You have all of these interesting sections. So you'll notice that the filters here have tiers 1 to 7, as you know. Then you have light tank, medium tank, heavy tank, tank destroyer. You also have elite, not elite, and favorites. You also have your different types of tanks, your regular tanks. You've got your premiums and you've got your collectors. You also have the different sets, as well as you have the nations, which is actually very, very nice. It was much more confusing going through the filters in the first Ultra Test, but I can see they actually did a decently good job here. I mean, it's not as confusing. It's still a little bit confusing, but it's going to be a lot easier to sort of grasp quicker than, let's say, when it was when the first Ultra Test came about. So do keep that in mind. Now you'll notice that he'll actually move around. He'll show us that if you click on these different these different filters, it'll show up on the bottom. You'll notice the tanks that are there on the bottom, which are pretty cool indeed. They've got each and every one of their nations. You can also go through different categories. You can go through sets, you can go through tiers, which, you know, the classic tiers, or the tiers which are the default tiers. So that's an interesting thing there. So if you put sets, it'll go back to how it was previously in the first Ultra Test. So it makes me believe that sets are not going to be removed from the game. Sets are going to be in the game, in Reforged, and there's nothing basically we can do about that. But you'll notice that there is the option to have tiers and tech trees now, which I have to say, Wargaming, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening to Droodles. Thank you for listening to Flossie. Thank you for listening to the other CCs that have spoken out about this, which is cool. Right, so let's pause this video right here. Now you'll notice that this is very similar to what we have in Blitz at the moment. The only difference is yes, you can click on nations, which is awesome, but you also have it based on sets. So this is what we call branches. So Wargaming have called this setup branches, which makes it a lot easier to actually navigate and understand where the hell everything is supposed to go. Yes, it's still confusing because it is still technically sets, right? You can still look at this through a sets, you know, vision and whatnot if you like the animation of the tanks coming out. But this right here, what you're seeing, is in order of tier, but it's separated by sets. So each and every set you'll see, like the Hellcat set right there, the T110E4 set, T110E3 set, the M6 A2E1 set, you've got the T110E5 set, the M6EO set. I'm assuming the ones below that would be anything relating to the M48 Patton, the M60, those kind of tanks, right? Or the Sheridan and the Sheridan missile, those kind of things, right? So it kind of makes sense what they did, which is cool. I find it interesting that they've decided to go this route, and you can see If you scroll down, you'll be able to see that. Now, if you pick... Okay, let's... I'm hoping it goes back and actually shows us the tech trees. So in the branch, as you can see, it sort of branches out a bit. Now, okay, this is an interesting one here. If you see the way he's toggling show premium and show collectibles. So these are the premium tanks, these are the collectibles. Interestingly enough, you can purchase some of these collector tanks for gold. Now you'll notice there's a T67 there. For those of you who don't know, the T67 used to be a tech tree tank, a tech tree turreted tank destroyer before the Hellcat and the Jackson. They removed it from the game in update 5.5. It was actually originally called the T49, and then it became the T67 when the T49 line tank actually came into the game. So a very interesting little bit of Blitz trivia there. It's a tank that people clearly have forgotten about. So yeah, it's an interesting thing indeed. I do want to go back when he clicked on tech trees. Okay, so notice how here it's in line and this is in branch. It's a bit different, right? It's a bit, so it is technically still sets. it is still sets. It's just not what, not what we've seen in the Ultra Test 2. So do keep that in mind, that it is better. It's more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It's easier to navigate than sets. Trust me when I say this, it is way easier to navigate. Okay, this is beautiful. This setup here, this is what you see right here, is actually really easy to navigate. This is really, really cool. The fact that they've given us like almost identical to a tech tree, but in sets, is fantastic. But, and this is a big but, it still doesn't have that ease of understanding like a tech tree does. The tech tree is very easy to follow. I don't understand why Wargaming have this premise in their mind that for some reason a tech tree is very hard to follow. It's not. You've had 11 years to understand tech trees. You've had Wotb PC and Water Tanks console, and you even had War Thunder. And now you've got War Thunder Mobile, you have World of Warships Blitz. These all have tech trees, right? It's not difficult to go through a tech tree and to understand a tech tree. It's not difficult at all. But credit where credit is due. I do love the changes. I like the fact that they actually listen to us. I also like the fact that they actually listen to what I said. I'm not saying I'm going to take credit for this. No, absolutely not. But it's interesting that the point I made about making sets into tech trees, like turning a tech tree into, like turning the sets into what a tech tree would look like. I made those points and I suggested it, and I made an announcement in my videos. Devs, if you're watching this, please do this. I'm not saying this is because of me. Everyone in the community had a say. All the big YouTubers, especially Droodles, right? We all had a say. And Meadsy, I can't forget about Meadsy, of course. Meadsy spoke up about this test as well. But, I mean, it's some good changes. It's good. This is actually good. It's nice to see Wargaming listening to us, right? It's good to see that. It's nice to see the devs listening to us. I understand people like to crap on the devs a lot, but it's not the devs. The devs are following what they're being told by upper management. At the end of the day, it's the upper management, right? So don't hassle on the devs. Okay, so this is okay. Oh, perfect. Hold on, let me pause it right there. Okay. Do you remember when we, in the first Ultra Test, I went through the sets and whatnot. I gave you a set showcase, and I mentioned the fact that it's so difficult to understand what tanks are in each set and each collection. I had to click on each and every one basically to understand what the hell was going on and what that set is. But the fact that they've decided to introduce all tanks, just have all the tanks there, whether you have it or not, so you'll be able to see it, is really, really nice. It's a very good method and a very good strategy that they've used, and I quite like it indeed. And that's a very good addition. And the fact that you can actually toggle through nations and the tank types, and whether it's common or a premium or a collector, whether it's universal, whether it's got medium armor, whether it's got an auto loader, an auto reloader, if it's backline, if it's got a tough turret, it's got a HE shell, a good HE shell, if it's got ultimate armor, high damage, it's pretty damn good. It is pretty damn good. I love the changes. All these changes all add up. They really, really make a difference compared to the first Ultra Test, right? There's still things to be streamlined. There's still things that can be improved, that can be streamlined. The feedback that we're going to give Wargaming, especially what I'm going to give Wargaming after this Ultra Test is done, I can guarantee you there will be even more improvements and even more refinements. And there may very well be an Ultra Test 3 and possibly an Ultra Test 4. Who knows? I can't say yes or no. My point is, I hope to God the BZ75 is back at tier 7 where it belongs and not at tier 6, because for some reason Wargaming decided to put the BZ75 at tier 6. So when I went into a battle, I was going up against tier 5 tanks in a tier 7 tank. For those of you who are confused, the BZ75 is a tier 10 tank in Blitz. Wargaming put it at tier 9. Okay, and it was going into battles with tier 8s, so it still had T10 armor profile, it still had T10 DPM, had T10 pen, T10 hit points, and it was at T9 and coming up against those. Okay, so notice how these little things here, you can navigate sort of like a screen, which is really, really nice. I quite like that. I quite like that a lot. So yeah, like I said. So yeah, it's great. It's great. I think it's awesome that Wargaming listened to us. I think it's really, really important that they understood that sets were originally it was an interesting idea, but it was implemented horrifically bad. It wasn't something that we wanted. Like, it wasn't something we asked for, but it's something that we got, and we just sort of had to say, okay, well, it's in the game and it's here to stay. They're not going to remove it, right? They've worked so much on it, they're not going to remove this. And I can understand that. Fair enough. Another point I wanted to make as well is apparently, we're going to see tanks that, they don't, usually get sold every now and then in the sets like you saw in the first Ultra Test, which means that you'll be able to actually purchase these tanks for gold, which is awesome. So it's good to know that some tanks that you didn't get, like the T67 for instance, you're able to buy it, which is cool. So I'm all for that. Thank you very much everyone to those who have watched this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below your feedback so I can pass it on to Wargaming, and what you think about all these changes and whether or not you think it's actually going to make the game better or for worse. Let me know. Like I said, these is not the final stage of the Ultra Test 2. They will announce it, and when they do, I will make videos on it. Don't you worry. I can't wait until we do. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves, look after your friends and family, peace in the Middle East, and stay safe on the battlefield, alright? Trust me, you're going to need it. Alright, bye-bye.